The world has been overrun by zombies and ridden. The apocalypse is here! Thankfully, I've got my Mad Max K91 to weather through the storm. That's really what goes through my mind when I see the new K91. This camouflage looks absolutely insane, but it completely suits the K91 because the K91 was never one of the most stylish tanks out there, and it's definitely one of the weirder looking vehicles, so it definitely fits very well that it also gets a very weird looking Mad Max style camouflage with the flames on the side, the old dust worn camouflage color. It just looks great. So yeah, good job Wargaming on making a very cool camouflage, especially when it comes to a very, very popular and just fantastic tier 9 heavy. The K91 has ridiculous DPM for a autoloader, especially a heavy tank autoloader. It's got 2700, but it's not just that the tank's got really good autoloading capabilities, but its dispersion is great, its aiming time is great, even its penetration is really solid, up to 341 on the heat shells. So the gun is great. It's basically a tier 10 gun with an autoloading aspect. What's not to love about the vehicle? The K91 also has some incredibly troll side armor and track wheels that you might think you can pen, and then they just don't end up being penetrated. A very weird vehicle. I will say not as weird looking as the Object 752, but still up there on one of the weirder looking vehicles in Tier 9. Let me know what you guys think about this camouflage in the comments down below. I will have to say I'm a little disappointed that Wargaming did not give the K91 PBR when they gave it this camouflage. I kind of felt like that would have gone hand in hand. Why not give this tank PBR? But I can't really complain. The tank still looks really nice, and I'm guessing in the future all the tanks in the game are going to have PBR, especially all the tier 10s. So yeah, I think it's only time that after Wargaming cuts through all the tier 10s, all the tier 9s are going to get PBR, and then all the tier 8s. That would be my guess, but I have no clue how Wargaming is going to end up doing it. When I talked to my moderator, he actually said that Wargaming can give all the tanks PBR whenever they want, but they're slowly drip feeding the content out because it's going to bring more people into the game when their favorite tank obviously gets HD textures. So let's see what the K91 can do. Now you'll notice it's not super slow either. It's able to go upwards of 40 kilometers per hour, but the enemy team has an E100. They got a 50 TP and a Conqueror when it comes to heavy tanks. There's actually the E100 on the other side of the map. I don't want to be shot by that guy. Yeah, that is 640 hit points that I would lose in one sitting. So instead, I'm going to be very, very smart early on and capture this base. Now, unfortunately, my Sheridan has bled a lot of health, and when I mean a lot, yeah, my Sheridan has bled quite a substantial chunk. Let's see if I can get a shell into that 50B. There you go. At least one penetration. I'll take it. But in that amount of time, our Sheridan is dead. And honestly, I think that our other two mediums are going to die as well. But I guess we're going to find out now, aren't we? 6 more seconds left until I get my clip loaded. And, well, that's exactly what we're going to do here, is I'm going to get right behind the C100, and we're going to start clipping him. There's one shell in. Let's get sort of in a face hug with him, but of course the 50 TP is also on my side. But hey, at least we were able to connect 3 shells into the E100, and now we're going to drive away. Wow, our E100 got a very, very lucky finishing shell there. I'm going to back up, but we still got penetrated by the enemy E100 there, so oh well, but we're fine. We're going to get another shell into you, and we should be able to finish him off. Well, actually our Progetto is going to do that. So right now it is a 4 versus 5. I'm half health, but I'm not too mad because I definitely played this smart. I needed to clear their opponents, and really the only reason we even have a chance here is because of that ammo rack our Yo, I think, got. So yeah, we were pretty lucky in this situation. There's one shell into the enemy AMX 50B. There's 2 shells into the 50B, and, well, we can't get the third one out, but that's all fine, because you know what? If the 50B even pokes slightly, he's going to die. And there you go, easy shot into the enemy M60, finishing him off. That means I've just brought the tides to a 4 versus 4, but they do got a lot of hit points left. I think that grill is still full health, if I'm not mistaken, so we gotta be very careful. Ooh, there's the 50B. Come on, Progetto, I believe in you. Well, let's just shoot an HE. Oh, reload, 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 and fire. Oh, what is this gun doing to me? Wargaming, let me hit my shot. Oh, and it rolls Oh my god, this game seriously does not like me. Rolls 15 damage. Alright, well let's back up here, and right now I'm trying to think of what would be the smartest decision. I think pushing the Sheridan would be about the smartest decision I can make. So let's back up here, let's get one shell into the Sheridan. Bit of a low roll, but doesn't matter too much because that Sheridan is still taken out, which means all we have to do is clear this grill. This was a really weird game. It looked like a massive loss in the beginning, but we were actually able to come out with a victory, and here we go. There's one shell into the enemy grill, and here comes our second. Nice. All right, we were able to deal upwards of 3,700 damage, and we even came out with a victory. This grill is not going to survive very long. Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. I'll give you the GG. He's not a bad player. I mean, he did a pretty decent job this game. Just kind of unfortunate that his team didn't want him to win. So there you go. We were able to deal, I would say, around 3,800 damage. Completely help the team. My team did a decent job. I'll give him credit. The only real reason, though, still why we won that was down to an ammo rack. That's really unfortunate for their team, especially because that grill did do 6,000 damage. So, yeah, good job on the grill. You know what, honestly, our Progetto did pretty good as well. I didn't realize the Progetto did so much damage, but he got out, which is the important thing. So, not a bad game. And you can see where the K91 is very strong. Its gun is accurate, it's got pretty good shell velocity, and, I mean, the DPM's great. You can easily fight tier 10 heavies, not really worrying. I mean, I fought that E100, and then we continued on to shooting the Sheridan, and so many other takes, even that 50B. We got really unlucky, though. 15 damage for that HE. The 50B's turret is like 200 millimeters thick. That should have easily cleared him. So that's the only downside of RNG in this game, is that sometimes it doesn't love you, but as I always say, RNG is not the defining factor in your battle, and it's usually down to just how you play your tank. So what do we have in the enemy team? We got two E100s, we got an Object 263, we got that same Progetto that was on our team on the enemy team. So I'm going to have to be a little worried about that, and hopefully this 50B was not the one we just had against us, because, yeah, that guy, I don't know what he was doing. So let's push over to the space. I like going in between here, because this is probably where I would expect the E100s to go, but I like going to the spot. First of all, K91 has a very solid turret. It's got some weak spots if you have enough pen, and the E100s could penetrate through the edges of it, but it's still got a very solid turret for what is a tier 9 heavy tank. Definitely better than vehicles like the Emil 1 turret or other turrets like that. K91 also has some pretty solid gun depression, sitting at 7 degrees. We were able to get a very nice shell right into the Progetto, and we also spotted the enemy Yo off to the side. Oh, nice, and my team's getting more shells out into the enemy team. Alright, so we've already spotted a decent chunk of the enemy. There's the Yo, and there's one shell into him. Is he gonna poke again? It looks like a no to me. Good news is that we have captured a base, and we are bleeding them a bit. Now, the question is, what are they going to do? Because if they camp the entire game, they actually have a pretty solid chance of winning, especially because they were able to capture base B. But that's going to be down to the question of how their team performs. We got the Progetto off to the side. There's an E3. I'm just worried about the E100s. Nothing else is scaring me right now, apart from the enemy E100s, because those are the tanks that can really ruin your battle. So, over here is the enemy Object 263, who just fired. So, ooh, we can't get a shell in yet. There's one shell into the Waffle, and thankfully, well, I was going to say thankfully the Waffle didn't pen me, but no, I lied. The Waffle was the one that penned me. It was the 263 that fired a high explosive shell. Alright, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to reload my clip and pretend like I have shells in the gun. In retrospect, we're just sitting here waiting for our gun to reload and reload and reload. Now, off to the side, we do have the E100, who I might be able to get a shell or two into. Trying to keep an eye on my 263, though, over there as well. Trying to think of what I want to do. Our team is doing a decent job holding. The issue is that their team has the base cap, so we need to clear them. That's the problem here. So I'm just trying to think of how I want to do that, especially with our grill literally suiciding. I mean, that was just a deliberate suicide. So there's one shell into the Waffle, and thankfully my sacrifice was worthy, because the Waffle's dead now. So that was good. We got the 263 off to the side, who I want to get a shell into. There you go. Nice tap once. And let's go for a second shell. Nice. Alright. Now I'm just going to face hug the 263. Hopefully my armor is going to hold up. I'm going to back up and continue backing up, bringing him out into the open. Here we go. Face hugging the 263. Our armor should do okay, I would say. I don't know. Oh, perfect. There you go. My teammate did his job, and boop. Oh, just a little bit too high, but we still need to win. We have no choice to push in at this point, so I'm going to get ready to go. The E100 put himself in a terrible situation across the entire map, so all our E100 has to do is clear theirs, and that's it, and then he just has to get into the base. I'm going to get 2 shells into the enemy E100. There you go, but our E100 is still not getting into base B. Please, please get into the base. There you go. Nice. All right. I'm reloading. We got 7 more seconds left on our clip. And then we should be able to get some pretty decent damage out onto the enemy E100. Once again, here we go. 1 shell in, finishing off that tank. And that evens out the base capture. So now we're getting base A, we've got base B, and even if they clear me, we basically have a win at this point. See, that is how you work together as a team. Now, I'm not going to bother reloading my clip right now, just because I don't know when this E100 is going to be spotted. In fact, I know where he is now. So I'm going to play this smart. I'm going to drive over the bridge, because I'm just going to try and get some shells in. I mean, even if I die at this point, it won't make a difference on the overall game, so let's just keep on going. Come on, Speed and fire a heat shell. Yes, we got a pen. Look at that. We won on base cap, and I was able to deal just a little bit more damage, even max rolling the shell. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, the K91. This is always an incredibly strong Tier 9 heavy tank. As you could see, we went toe-to-toe with Tier 10 vehicles like the 263, the E100, and I guess the Progetto, but we didn't really fight him all too much. But either way, we were still able to deal 3,800 damage. And this is a perfect example showcasing how the K91 is one of the most powerful Tier 9s in the game. So, would I suggest to buy it? Because a lot of you probably have that question. If it's cheap. I mean, sometimes this tank comes out for like 10 or 15 bucks, and yeah, that's a pretty good deal for this vehicle. That's probably how most of you have it. But apart from that, I wouldn't suggest to pick it up. As always, a tank may be very strong, but if it's too much money, don't buy it. So get it when it's at its cheapest point. I think the cheapest I've seen it was $15. So if you see it for that price tag, not a bad deal. Anything more, I would suggest to wait. Hopefully, you enjoyed today's video, and if you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. Bye-bye!